is an interior hydrostatic pressure relief system, also known as the French drain system, waterproofing system. As you see here, basement gurus, we use a solid lid. That way no moisture can come up out of the sump basin. Everything gets a gasket seal and then it all gets bolted down. So as you look down inside the sump basin here, you can see we have two pipes coming from both different directions. They're all pitched from highest point to lowest point. And down inside the sump basin, we have a 1/2 horsepower sump pump, which pushes up to 8,600 gallons of water an hour. And all of that water, once it fills up, there's a float system down there. And once it fills up, the float kicks the sump pump on, and then all the water goes out through this 1.5" PVC pipe, which is tied into the downspout outside. Now, if you look down here at the whole other end of this basement, which we consider high point, so you see there's a clean out there. So the way we do this is we come out about 14 inches from the wall, and then it's a 10-inch wide by 10-inch deep trench. Every 10 feet, the trench drops 1 inch going to the lowest point, which is where the sump basin is. And that's how you move water from one area to the next. Now you see the gray material up against the bottom of the wall. That's what us waterproofers call mirror drain. So what the idea with that is that all these cinder blocks are all webbed, they all, sequence, up on each other. So when you have water that's sitting outside the wall here, it builds up. And then because the exterior waterproofing system isn't there anymore, it don't exist, it allows the water to be able to weep into the cinder block. And if you ever look down through the cinder block, you see it has chambers. So what happens is those chambers fill up with water. And at the bottom here, behind this mirror drain system, we drill holes just through the core pockets, which allows the water to be able to drain into the French drain system too. So ultimately, your walls are dried and your floor is dried, and you'll never have water seepage coming in your basement again. Up there at the end there, that's called a clean out. So the idea with this clean out is, say they get their walls done, they decide to finish this whole entire basement. Well, this is an access point which allows us to gain access into the system. So we can flush it, we can snake it, we could always do whatever we need to do to allow this to be a forever solution for you and your family's home. As you see, then we do 4 inches of concrete, blend it into the pre-existing floor nicely. I'm going to come over here as well. I got another system over here. So this was 210 feet of waterproofing, which is a pretty big job, in a residential home. Typically you get about 100 to 150 linear feet, but this job right here was 210 linear feet. Everything was finished down here, so we took out all the ceiling in the whole entire basement. Did a mold remediation treatment down here as well. It had sheetrock on the walls, and then there also was a vinyl flooring and then a ceramic tile flooring. But it's the same system over here, so we started 10 inches wide by 10 inches deep, where the clean out is over there. And then every 10 feet, our pipe drops 1 inch going to the sump pump. We got the weep holes drilled into the bottom of the block here behind the mirror drain as well. You see how we make it nice and tight, everything's blended into the pre-existing floor nicely. And this waterproofing system comes all down through here. And then it comes in front of the oil tank here. And what we do here in front of the oil tank, it's called a 2-inch drain. So specifically, codes are a little complicated when you're moving an oil tank. So what we choose to do is we leave the oil tank and then we come out around it with a 2-inch drain. So if any water does come in, it's able to find its way into the drain, and then the drain pushes into the piping system, and then it goes into the sump pump from there. As you look down into the sump pump here, you can see this is a 1/2 horsepower sump pump. We use pressure fittings on all the discharge lines. That way nothing blows apart or anything like that. Everything's glued, everything's primered. And then we got a conduit that comes out the back side for your electric cords. That way when you go to put the lid over top of your sump pump, you got your gasket seal in place, everything gets bolted down. You're not losing any space. You don't have a bunch of pipes that come out of the top of the lid. Everything's all nice and clean. And as you see, the discharge line comes out over here, all 1.5 inch pressure fittings. And that goes tied right into the downspout outside as well.